Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my 1.2.1 Smash Ultimate tier list video. In this video, I'm going to be going over the high tiers. We covered the top tiers in the last video. So as a reminder, or for those who have not seen the previous video, this tier list is based half on my own personal opinion and half on results. Also, there are no orders within tiers. And obviously the tiers themselves are ordered from top down to low. All right, so high tier, as you can see, we have the most characters in this tier. That's because, one, the game is very new, and I think it's really kind of hard to judge a lot of the characters, but a lot of the characters seem generally good, so I think we can put a lot of them within the realm of high tier. I think high tier is the average in this game. I think that will remain so even as the game evolves. So getting right into it, the first one we have Snake. So I did put Snake first, even though the tier is not ordered within itself, just because I feel like Snake has the potential to maybe be a top tier, as we're going to see with a few of the characters that I put in high tier. Snake just has tons of tools, you know, all different kinds of projectiles and traps that he can set. He has lots of vulnerabilities, but he lives for a really long time because he's very heavy. He kills early. And he has like a lot of just like he can recover with the C4. So in other words, like one of his vulnerabilities is recovery, but he has ways around that, and it takes a lot to kill him. And then he can kill you with things like up tilt. He has the amazing Nikita missile, which can just track you wherever you are, so on and so forth. And we've seen both MVD and Ally get decent results with this character. Okay, next we have Donkey Kong. So heavies in this game, well, everybody says heavies, but really what they mean is big bodies, because being heavy doesn't inherently make you bad, but usually being a big-bodied character does make you bad. But in this game, heavies have received huge buffs. One of the big parts of that is the fact that they have less jump squat. So heavies always had a lot of jump squat, so if they wanted to do an aerial, it was so much more committal because it just had all that additional startup from jump squat. Donkey Kong, as well as, you know, every character in this game has a frame 3 jump squat, so that makes Donkey Kong a lot better. He still kills you really early. He still lives forever. And now his moveset is he's just quick, and his moves have less landing lag, so he can just swing more. And that's he's just very a basic character. You know, he still has some grab combos, but nothing that's going to like kill you. Well, although he does have ways to kill you with a grab also, with cargo forward throw off stage, cargo, I believe it's back throw on stage. And he can also get you with cargo, forward throw or back throw untechables into the stage. He can carry you off with that. So just a very solid character. I think he would actually be maybe not on the top end of high tier, maybe towards the middle or lower, because there are so many really good characters. But yeah, Donkey Kong is really strong, one of the better big bodies in this game. Next, we have Cloud. Cloud is another one that could maybe be top tier. Despite being nerfed heavily from Smash 4, he still has immense range on pretty much everything except for Nair. Nair is like the move that seems to have taken maybe the most range nerf, but it's still a sword, it's still a disjoint, and it's still a bigger range than like a Mario Nair, for example, and people can space that safely. He still has limit. Granted, it goes away after 15 seconds, but that's more than enough time for good players like Zero, who's probably the best Cloud main right now, to make plays with that. Actually, definitely the best Cloud main. And he just has really, really solid advantage state. He has mix-ups and disadvantage. His recovery is actually, besides for the limit nerf, his recovery is actually better than it was in Smash 4, simply because he can air dodge now. He can directional air dodge and not have to up B. So that's a really good buff to his recovery. And yeah, he's still oppressive in the same way as he was in Smash 4, just his hitboxes are a little more fair, and limit is not as broken. So he's definitely nerfed, but still a very strong character, especially great since you can't air dodge things. He can just go off the stage and swing and edge guard you really well too. All right, next we have Bowser. Bowser, very similar to Donkey Kong in that big-bodied character, still gets juggled really hard, but now has amazing kill potential. Or continues to have amazing kill potential, but now he can get off the ground faster, his aerials have less lag, he can swing more in general, and he also has the tough guy mechanic was buffed in this game, so I'm not sure if it works for every multi-jab, but I know that I've heard, well, I know from my own experience that Fox jab, I think Inkling jab as well, probably any multi-jab, maybe there are exceptions, he can actually just do whatever he wants when you're multi-jabbing him. So like he gets super armor during like a certain weak hit, like a certain amount of percent or knockback. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And if he's in that armor, he can just act. And so you literally can't multi-jab him. It'll be negative every time, you'll get punished. And yeah, otherwise pretty much the same thing as Donkey Kong. Just took away some of the bad things about a big-bodied character with the new game mechanics. All right, next we have Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon, he's a bit different, but ultimately I think he's very similar to how he was in Smash 4 in terms of he's just a rushdown character who has a lot of confirms, a lot of juggles. He kind of explodes you and explodes himself. He still has a very susceptible recovery, still very bad disadvantage, gets comboed really hard. And yeah, and he still has a lot of, you know, confirms and combos. He has basically falling nair is a new falling up air. You do falling nair 1, it's a knee, down air, up air, whatever you want, just like you would do falling up air into that in Smash 4. I don't think there's too much more to say. I mean, he doesn't have the kill option of a Raptor boost anymore. Now that's more of a combo tool, but he can still kill you with back throw. He can edge guard you better because of the game. I think he's relatively the same as Smash 4, honestly. Just less fun to play in my opinion because his dash dance feels really weird. But you could see, you know, Falcons still do pretty well in tournaments. Okay, next we have Korra. So I've seen people put Korra pretty low. I'm not sure why. I mean, this one's, I guess I'm putting up higher, mostly due to my own opinion, because there hasn't been too much like tournament results for Korra that I've seen. So this is just speculation, I guess. But just from playing Korra, she feels like Smash 4 Korra, but better. She has some nerfs, like you can't combo as much out of the Dragon Fang shot. And her pin lunge or her dragon lunge, I think it goes less distance or whatever, but now you can pin into the ground and drop right out of it, and it doesn't have that much lag, and that's actually a really good option because in the past, if you pinned someone's shield, your only option was to either just wait a really long time and hope your opponent doesn't do like an aerial out of shield, or do the retreating pin, or else you would always get punished if you tried to do it through someone's shield unless they were like really slow. So the retreating pin, and then you would give up stage control. So now she doesn't have to do that anymore. She still has the same kind of combos like nair, forward air, up air, and that kind of stuff. Tipper pin still kills really early, so she can edge guard with that and stuff too. Yeah, she just has tons of options. You know, well, not necessarily a ton of options, but she still has the same kind of options that she had in Smash 4. I think she's still a really solid character. We'll have to see when there are more results from her. All right, next up we have Diddy Kong. So Diddy Kong, for a brief while, I was actually thinking might be top tier, watching Zero play the character on his stream, but after seeing a little more, it does seem like the character is just a bit weaker in the game. I'm not exactly sure what completely makes him weaker, but just watching him, he doesn't seem to have the same kind of control as he did in Smash 4. But he definitely is still a really solid character. He still has down tilt combos. Banana was actually buffed because now after Banana hits an opponent, it doesn't just disappear. So you can do things like you hit somebody with Banana, then you grab the banana and hit the opponent at the same time with landing nair, and then you hit them with the banana again, then do like back air and stuff like that. You'll see Zero do like a lot of combos like that when he plays Diddy Kong on his stream. I haven't seen too many other Diddy Kongs play. But yeah, I mean, he definitely seems like a solid character. For sure, he still has grab follow-ups too. But his recovery is a bit nerfed, among other things. All right, next we have the Pits. So I think the Pits were kind of buffed from Smash 4. In Smash 4, they were like the kind of mid-tier character, I feel. But in Ultimate, just due to the landing lag mechanics, and I'm not sure if they actually received any frame data changes, but it seems like they're fair and like their aerials are really quick. It's probably just due to jump squat being reduced. But now they can juggle you harder because there's, for one thing, they have less landing lag, but now you can't air dodge for free. Pits, in particular, Pits arrows go really, you can angle them really nicely, and they can be really hard to deal with off stage because you can't just air dodge them for free. Some characters can air dodge like one of them and then recover, but otherwise they prove to be a lot more of a nuisance. I think Pit's better than Dark Pit, but there's such similar characters besides the arrow. And yeah, just a very fundamental character. There's not much to say about him, but just very strong in the game. He has good movement. He still has combos, good disjoints, good juggling. His recovery is very edge guardable, but it goes really far. He has multiple jumps. Solid character overall. Not much to say about him. Next we have Falco. So Falco, I haven't seen much gameplay of outside of the most notable gameplay, which of course was Larry versus Void. Larry bringing out this character and proving that he could take the character very far at very top level gameplay in tournament. This could just be Larry's fundamentals coming out and lack of matchup knowledge this early, but Falco definitely seems solid. Short hop down air now auto cancels as far as I've heard, and the down air spike is easier to land. Falco can still do lots of aerial strings. He has lots of combos. He has up tilt combos. Laser is buffed. It has less cooldown. Very solid character. Can still kill you with back air. I think up tilt back air might even be a thing, a kill percent. I've seen a Falco do that, but I'm not sure if it was true. But in this game, things like that don't necessarily have to be true because if you air dodge it, you might take a bigger hit anyway. He seems like a solid character for sure. I think his recovery is also buffed. I think his up he goes a little further than it did in Smash 4. Could be wrong about that though. Yeah, next up we have Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers are not what they were in Melee and Brawl because they no longer have grab infinites yet. But they have still some crazy desync combos that you've seen people do. I've seen some 0 to deaths that are probably impractical on Twitter. But there's still a lot of things this character can do. They have huge damage output. They have grab follow-ups from what I've seen. There's just a very high skill ceiling for a character like this. So I think the character has really strong potential. And I would like to see more. Well, I don't know if I would like to, but I expect to see some results from this character. All right, since there's so many characters in this tier, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So Ike, all right, so Ike just won a major, or not a major, but I guess a regional, or I'm not sure exactly what Smash Conference was considered. Maybe a major. In other words, Ike won a very big tournament. He could be top tier. I could change my mind about that. You know, this tier list was made before that result. But Ike still seems like a very telegraphed character. His neutral is pretty much Nair and then like mix-ups. But like he wants to Nair you because he gets follow-ups off of Nair from 0% to kill percent. And that's really strong for him. He still has lots of range, lots of kill power. He's very heavy. Definitely could be top tier, as I'm saying, but I think he's high tier just because his neutral is so obvious. And once people kind of just keep that in mind, he won't be able to do as much. All right, next we have Ryu and Ken. Very similar to Smash 4, you know, lots of damage output, lots of kill power. I put them together for now. They could be, you know, a lot more different in the future, but they're very, very solid characters. They're also heavy, and they have a lot of strings and combos and a lot of damage output. I think I may have mentioned. There's very solid characters overall. Not too much differences from them. Well, I mean, Ken is obviously different from Ryu, but overall they're both similar to Smash 4 Ryu, and like in terms of what made him good. So that's that. Also, the turnaround mechanic I think is really good for like covering options. You don't have to react to your opponent rolling behind you, for example. If you're just pressing a button, it'll probably aim in their direction anyway. So next we have K. Rool, probably the most common online character to face. K. Rool, I think, is potentially the best big body character. I'm not sure. He has tools, or he has like mechanics built into him that just naturally cover the weaknesses of the big body characters. For example, landing. Since he has the super armor mechanic on, for example, his Nair and a lot of other moves, he can land easier, although, of course, he can only use it 3 times in a row or else it breaks. But good K. Rool players are going to be aware of that. He has 2 spikes, a variety of ways to kill you. He has a down throw that grounds and pretty much is a guaranteed kill confirm at high percent. So you can do down throw to forward tilt, up tilt, another down. You can do a down tilt. Down tilt also buries you. He has a really solid projectile, which also kind of works into helping out the big body syndrome, because big bodies sometimes struggle in neutral just because they're so easy to hit. But he has this crown which can cover a lot of space at neutral. Also a really interesting projectile in his neutral B, the Blunderbuss, I think it's called, the little gun. Not little, but he can use that. He can absorb you. He can kind of curbicide you with that off stage. Also, his recovery is really good. Really, really solid character, even though he has a big body. I think he's second heaviest now also, or he's really heavy, lives forever, kills you really early, has super armor mechanics on a lot of moves. Very solid character. Next, we have Pokemon Trainer. This character is another one of those that could be top tier, but need to see more results. It's 3 characters in one, so it's kind of weird to put all of them into a tier, but I'm choosing to do so because whenever you choose Pokemon Trainer, all 3 of those characters are at your disposal. So you can just access any of them. I think Ivysaur may be the best. Squirtle's also really solid, and Charizard still has strong uses within the character. And we can see that the character just has so many tools. Players of this character are able to deal with a lot of matchups also because they can switch between Pokemon to fit the matchup or the situation. You can switch to Charizard when you want to get kills, when you need to recover, or when you need to survive longer because he's heavy. You can use Squirtle to kind of move around characters because he's so small and he has a lot of little combos that he can do a lot of damage with. You can use Ivysaur to put on a lot of damage, to zone people out with the Razor Leaf. He has a lot of tools. All right, next up we have Link. Link also very strong. He has the new ball mechanic as well as reduced aerial landing lag. Helps out his moveset a lot. He also has a normal grab, so he doesn't have to rely on the slow, laggy tether grab anymore. And he has a lot of really interesting setups. Bomb can actually be a defensive tool as well because it can deflect projectiles. If they are, if they connect with the bomb will actually take the hit if it's in the path of the projectile. And then, of course, Link can knock it back, and Link doesn't really have to worry about people using the bomb against him too much anymore. People can still grab the bomb and still use it as just a physical projectile to throw at Link, but the explosion itself is rarely going to damage Link unless he waits for the, I think, 35 seconds before it actually explodes on its own. He can still recover with it, and I think actually his recovery with bomb is now better because he no longer has to wait for the bomb to explode on its own. He can take out the bomb, Z-drop it, and blow it up immediately, and then recover from great distances with that. And he still has a lot of kill power, as Link always has. A lot of range as well. I think his range was even buffed in this game. Okay, and next up we have Mii Sword Fighter. Mii Sword Fighter coming out of nowhere as being one of the stronger, or as being the strongest Mii thus far. We haven't really seen any results of this, but the character seems like to have a solid moveset overall, lots of range. He also has a really, really strong projectile with the Tornado. It's really good for covering space, and it also combos into up B and I think up air, forward air. It has kill confirms that are very reliable and pretty early kills off of that move as well. And he has some other special moves that I don't know, some other strong special moves that I don't know too much about. He does have an interesting projectile, like other kinds of projectiles as well, that he can camp with. And he kind of has that link factor where he can camp you or get in because he has good disjoints on his, sword normal moves. But yeah, I got to see more of this character, but I think this character is a very solid character that is kind of just sleeping for the moment. Next up, we have Mewtwo. So a lot of top players put Mewtwo in top tier, and I'm thinking that I might do that, but I have not really seen enough plays from Mewtwo. I have not seen enough top-level representation of Mewtwo, getting results with him. I just haven't seen the results from the character right now. He seems similar to Smash 4. He just has, a lot of kill power. He's still a glass cannon because he dies really early, and he can no longer just air dodge all over the place for free, but he has good combo potential, good edge guarding, solid moveset, good disjoints, and what have you. So would like to definitely see a lot more top-level representation of this character to really accurately place him in a tier list. All right, next up we have Megaman. So Megaman actually could be top tier. He has what is either an infinite or a pseudo-infinite. There's a setup that you may have seen online. Or I think, did BV Smash? I think BV Smash may have put a video out about it. He has... and besides that, most of the same tools as Smash 4. He's a really, really, really good zoning character because he can just wall you out with pellets and other projectiles, and that invalidates a lot of matchups. So a lot of characters will just have a huge amount of trouble with Megaman, and that makes him a great counterpick character because he's really good at just shutting people out in neutral, and he still has good damage output, good edge guarding, decent recovery, and what have you. Next we have Mario. So I don't actually think Mario was really nerfed from Smash 4. He basically is the same character. Like when I play him, like a lot of people say that like Mario is completely different or whatever, and they say that Doc is better than Mario. I don't see any of this. Mario doesn't do exactly the same thing. Like he doesn't do down throw and then combo you as much. At early percents, at least, he can do up throw, but then he starts hitting you. And then eventually down throw does turn into a combo throw once again. And he still has, once you're in the air, he still has like kind of all the same combos as he did in Smash 4. Up air, up B, up air chains on platforms taking you up. I believe his up B is actually stronger in terms of just killing you off the top. It no longer has that like rage jank hitbox, as far as I've seen. But yeah, Mario still has solid neutral with back air. You can just find a grab anywhere. Up smash is not as strong, but it still kills you. It's still a good kill move, still relatively safe, and something you got to respect. He still has cape. His recovery is pretty much the same. I don't think the character is really too different. Next up, we have Luigi. Luigi's a character you might think would be lower just because his recovery and grab have both been nerfed. Well, you could argue that the grab is a nerf or a buff, but I think it's a nerf just because it's laggy and slow. But the reason I put him in high tier is because he has ridiculous combos that people have even compared to wobbling when he grabs you. There are 0 to deaths off of a grab that are, I think they're true if you read DI. You do like down throw into down air, neutral air, re-grab, and then repeat the process, and then you eventually do a landing down air into an up B. I think Beefy Smash made a video about that. You can check it out if you haven't. But just because of his insane damage potential, I'm going to put Luigi in high tier. Still really solid, a really scary character to deal with, even though he dies really early off stage. But now he's got 3 stocks, so he has more of a chance to make that comeback. Next we have Lucario, another character that people do consider to be top tier. Again, I want to see more top-level representation of this character, more results before I want to put the character in top tier. But yeah, really solid with less landing lag, what this moveset can do. Still has an amazing projectile. Aura is still really broken, even though there is no more, or like Rage is in the game, but it's not as potent. But Lucario still has that really strong comeback factor where he can just kill you because he has max aura and he does an amazing amount of damage and knockback. And yeah, like I said, his moveset overall is just safer on whiff. He can swing more than he used to, which makes him really scary at kill percent. He doesn't have the same Aura Sphere setups as he used to, or like they're not as reliable, I guess. With the Aura Sphere cancel setups, were a lot more reliable in Smash 4, but they still exist in this game from what I've seen. They're just less reliable. All right, next we have Isabelle and Villager. Despite being different characters, I still put them kind of the same way. They just have different trapping tools with different use of the Lloyd and the tree versus the fishing rod. I understand that those are not the same special move, but I'm saying the Lloyd is repositioned and the fishing rod covers the other kind of tool that the character would use. But yeah, I mean, their normals are very similar. They both have really good zoning game with Slingshot, which also aids their traps that they can set with Tree and Lloyd and Fishing Rod as well. They can do a lot of work off stage. They can recover from anywhere if you don't edge guard them, which they are susceptible to. They can kill you off stage. They can kill you on stage. Maybe Villager a little easier with that. And they're just very good characters in neutral, very difficult to deal with, and can also invalidate a lot of matchups. Next, we have Meta Knight. Meta Knight seems really strong in this game. He can go off stage and kill you with Tornado really early. He still has up air juggles that can do a lot of damage. Up B combos out of up air still, but it doesn't kill you as early. And he still has solid neutral. You still have to watch out for, well, predictable neutral, but still dangerous because he still has dash attack. He still has dash grab that can contest you. His aerials are a little better to swing with in neutral now also. And yeah, Meta Knight is just a dangerous character. Hits you, does a lot of damage, can send you off stage, and can kill you off stage easily. All right, let me take a drink of water before this one. All right, so next up we have Pikachu. So now Pikachu is a character that a lot of players consider to be top tier. He may be. This is another one of those characters where I put them in high tier, but they could be top tier. The thing is, I feel like Pikachu, although being really solid, still struggles as he did in Smash 4 with getting the kill. I feel like Pikachu still has to go for a smash attack, usually forward smash or up smash, I guess, to get the kill, even though he racks up so much damage, has really solid edge guarding. But if you look at a character like Pichu, for example, who I and many others put in top tier, Pichu has much safer kill options. He can just throw out forward tilt. Edge guarding works for both of them, but Pichu's edge guarding is even better because he has a better recovery and he has back air, which actually kills you off stage instead of relying on some kind of drag down or a really high % kill. And his forward smash is also really safe, although I wouldn't say that Pikachu's isn't, but forward tilt is really what gives Pichu such a kill option. He also has Thunder, which I believe kills earlier than Pikachu's, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But we'll have to see how the meta evolves. We have seen results from ESAM with Pikachu, but ultimately, I think Pichu is definitely better. And for now, I'm putting Pikachu in high tier. Definitely could be top tier though. All right, next up we have Wolf. So Wolf, I want to say is definitely in high tier. I don't think he's a top tier character, but also a very solid character. Very strong neutral. He has a really good projectile in the Blaster, which covers most of the stage. He has some strong combos. He can fair chain you kind of like Sheik does. And he has a really strong back air for getting kills. He can spike you. His forward tilt is a really safe, strong option. Forward smash also has really low end lag, so you can throw that out at kill % and not worry too much about getting punished. And yeah, really solid character in general. He struggles with recovery. He does get comboed a lot. And sometimes he may struggle with the kill, but not too much because he can back throw you also at ledge for a kill option. And yeah, very solid, simple character as well. I think he's very strong. All right, next up, I don't know why I didn't put Richter and Simon next to each other, but next up we have the Belmonts. So the Belmonts are probably the best camping character in the game, or at least in terms of just their tools for camping. Their specials can really wall you out with like just the 3 B moves are really solid. Or well, besides up B, you know, their 3 main B moves. It makes their neutral really hard to contest, and sort of like the other zoning characters that I mentioned, it really invalidates some matchups. Some characters just cannot get in, especially big bodies are going to have a lot of trouble with this character. Not to mention they have immense range on their normals and aerials, just swinging out the chain all over the place. And they can cover ledge insanely well. They do have 0 to deaths, although they don't seem too consistent or like feasible to land in a bracket match, but that's still possible to happen. I obviously have a huge weakness recovering. They have one of the worst recoveries in the game. And they do get juggled pretty hard. It's not to say that they don't have CQC options, but their CQC options are not the best, so they get juggled pretty hard. All right, next up we have Sonic the Hedgehog. So another character that we have not seen that much top-level representation of, but Sonic still really strong. He's still the fastest character in the game. He still has really strong hitboxes, good kill power. We did see, although this is super, super early meta and not necessarily the best thing to base off of, but we did see him make the grand finals of the Invitational tournament with MKLeo behind him. Of course, that's a lot to go off of, but the character definitely seems very impressive based on that. He is definitely nerfed. He doesn't have spin dash cancel anymore. You can't shield out of the spin dash, but he still has spin dash, which still, you know, sets up combos for him and everything. Still really quick character, can run away a lot, not as easily because he can't just bait you and threaten you with the spin dash cancel. But I think he's still really strong, but it's hard to say this early without seeing too many top-level Sonic plays. Next up, we have Shulk. So Shulk is really good in this game. Shulk, because of the landing lag reduction in this game, he can swing a lot, and Shulk has an immense amount of range on his moves that he can swing with. Nair is almost similar to Ike's in terms of getting a lot of follow-ups of it, off of it, and he can throw it out all the time, covers a lot of space. So does his forward air. He can go really far off stage with jump Monado. Speaking of which, his Monados now, you can switch between them in hit stun. So you can be like, I think it was multi-jab I was doing. I fought an Ike and I multi-jabbed him, and sort of like Bowser, he would switch to shield Monado during the multi-jab, and he kind of just invalidated the move and then was able to punish me for it. And there are a variety of other uses for Monado switching like that. Not to mention the Monado, I believe the actual effects of the Monado are stronger and last less time in this game. You can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but it seems kind of like that custom move that he had in Smash 4, where that was the case. So you have to be really careful about that. He has insane damage output on Buster. I would be curious to see if he's faster than Sonic on speed mode, because he's insanely fast on speed Monado. He can go super deep off stage with jump Monado, kill you really, really early with Smash Monado, and survive just like anything with Shield Monado. And I mean, that's kind of always been the case. That's obviously what you use the Monado for, but I feel like it's just more extreme in this game. All right, so next up we have Rob. So Rob has some crazy setups. Beefy Smash again made a video about, I think it's a 0 to death combo that Rob has with Nair, Z-drop Nair combos with the gyro, and then you combo it into the side B off stage, which is now a really good option, even in general for edge guarding. And I think the jump squat and landing lag buffs also really helped Rob. He can still cover a lot of space in neutral. His juggling is a lot more dangerous now because you can't just air dodge through his up air for free. His down throw was nerfed. It grounds you now, but it seems like, unlike some other moves in this game, it seems seems really easy to mash out of. But he still has that, and if you're not mashing out of it fast enough, he can punish you to get a guaranteed kill. Or even if you do mash out and he reads the mash, he can come out and get you with the up air anyway. So it definitely seems like a solid character, but we'll have to see as the meta evolves. Also has a really strong recovery. All right, next up we have Rosalina and Luma. So although they're nerfed, I think Rosalina is still really, really solid. Just having a Luma in general, like, you can't really make that a bad character because you have this complete disjoint move set in front of you all the time. Granted, Luma does die earlier. Rosa's new Nair is interesting. I think it's a good move, even though it may not be as good as the old Nair. It could be better. I'm not too sure what the Rosa mains are thinking. Again, we have to see more top-level representation of this character, but still very solid juggling game, can edge guard very well. There's also some really advanced stuff for this character that we've seen with the attack cancel stuff. I don't think attack canceling is necessarily that vital of a tech in general, but for Rosalina, it unlocks a huge amount of potential because you can basically do an attack with Luma and then jump with Rosalina and cancel Rosalina's attack, but then Luma still does the attack, which gives you a lot of interesting options with the character. All right, next up we have Roy. In my last tier list, I think I put Roy at top tier. I think Roy is really good in this game. I don't know if he makes it to top tier. I have seen people say that he actually has more combos than Chrom, which is pretty interesting considering Chrom is, you know, usually the pick or thought to be the better of the Roy Echoes, and he may still be. But Roy has arguably a better recovery. His recovery, it's a different recovery. It's a diagonal recovery, so he can go off stage further horizontally and burn his double jump and still recover, whereas he can't go quite as deep vertically as Chrom could. But his recovery is definitely harder to gimp than Chrom's, so you could say he has a better recovery for that. Still has really dangerous onstage game. Kills earlier than Chrom if you get the sweet spot, and the sour spot is still safe on hit. It's not like you have to worry about that, but the character does not get the most reward for perfect spacing. You want to get in and be up close with the character, but it definitely seems like the sweet spot for Roy has grown a lot since Smash 4. It seems a lot easier to get the sweet spot, and using the sour spot, or I think there's like an in-between hitbox, can get you a lot of interesting combos with the character as well. Next up, we have Sheik. Everybody's putting Sheik in like low tier, mid tier. I'm not sure I see why. Granted, her damage output and kill power are still not great, but the character has really, really solid neutral. Strong combos that she can just, hit you. Like, her frame data is still amazing, and she has even less landing lag than she did in Smash 4. Can still be really oppressive and hard to deal with. She can still hit you a ton, and even though her moves don't do that much damage, she still has that factor where she's going to hit you so much that eventually you are at a lot of damage. And the things that she killed with in Smash 4 are harder to deal with in this game. So it's harder to deal with bouncing fish off stage. It's harder to deal with up smash when you're landing. So I still think that she does have plenty of options to get kills, although that's obviously still her main weakness. And I wouldn't put her under high tier at the moment. I want to see some top level Sheik gameplay and see what the people are doing with this character. All right, next up we have Lucas and Ness. I'll cover them separately. These characters are, well, I guess I'm covering them kind of at the same, but no, for Lucas, first of all, he doesn't have the same kind of grab follow-ups that he had, but he does have some interesting tools. His up air got a buff, can juggle with it a little easier, and the rest of his moveset is basically the same. He still has a strong zoning game in PK Fire, but he has the one big change of PK Freeze. Now has a really strong kill move. It sends you towards the blast zone when you get frozen. You just kind of shoot towards the blast zone. So if you're at high percent or you don't mash fast enough, you can just die to that move, and you can't air dodge it for free either because this is ultimate. So that makes him a very solid character off stage. And besides that, I would have to see more top-level results and representation to say more about the character, but he seems like a high-tier character for sure. Next up, we have Ness. So Ness, very similar to Smash 4. He grabs you, does a lot of low percent damage. His up air was changed, but it still kills, and now he can do drag down up air into things, including grab. PK Fire on stage is harder to mash out of. Down smash now hangs below the ledge, so it can be really difficult or almost impossible to recover against Ness for a lot of matchups. And he still kills you super early with back throw, although apparently Incineroar's back throw is now stronger. And he seems like a really, really solid character, mostly for the same reasons as Smash 4. Still has the huge weakness of having a really susceptible recovery, but edgeguarding him is now much riskier because if you get hit by his up B at some mid to high percent, it'll have too much knockback to be techable, so it'll be untechable and then you die. So it's riskier to edgeguard him, but it's still kind of free if you know what you're doing or have a good character at edgeguarding. I think he's probably better than Lucas, but too early to say for sure. Next, we have Toon Link. I want to see more, again, top-level representation for this character. But he seems really solid. Was really solid in Smash 4. Just a great overall character. Has, confirms from projectiles like Bomb Fair. Has a good aerial game. And just strong zoning, camping kind of game. Lots of projectiles that can come at you. Pretty much similar to Smash 4. Don't know too much about the character yet, but I think he's definitely no lower than high tier at the moment. Next, we have Zero Suit Samus. So she's very nerfed from Smash 4, but she still can be really oppressive, can still juggle you forever with up air, can still make it really scary for you to recover due to her flip kick. She doesn't get as much off of a grab, or like nearly as much off of a grab, I should say, because she doesn't have like the same kind of down throw follow-ups. But she still gets follow-ups off of Nair. She can still have a really solid neutral with her movement and back air. Just seems like a really solid character in general. Just not crazy broken and no kind of rage BS that she had in Smash 4. Her recovery is definitely a lot weaker because the tether no longer grabs the ledge like from anywhere. You have to be a lot closer. So Zero Suit Samus kind of relies more on down B and up B to recover now. But she's still really solid. Still really strong character, just not the same kind of oppression that she had in Smash 4. And finally, to round out high tier, we have Zelda. So Zelda in this game is one of the most buffed characters from Smash 4, I think. I originally put her at top tier, but now seeing what the real top tiers can do, I think she's definitely below that. But Zelda has much. I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure if specifically her airspeed and ground speed were buffed, but it seems like they were. She's still pretty slow on the ground, but thanks to the dash dancing in this game, she can move around a lot more. She has Phantom, which is an amazing tool for edge guarding, ledge trapping, neutral, juggling. It's just very, very versatile and can be used in so many ways. Such an interesting, like such a subtle buff made such a difference in that move. She has really strong aerials in terms of like forward air, back air, up air can kill you, neutral air can zone. She has grab follow-ups. I think she has a tight kill confirm with up throw, up air, but I'm not sure if that's true. Up throw will kill you at higher percents as well as back throw. She has a difficult to contest recovery with her for his wind, and she can now break out of combos with her neutral B, the Nehru's Love, which has invincibility really soon. I don't know what frame it comes out on, but the intangibility is really hard to deal with on that move. You can just be juggling her, and then you get hit by that all of a sudden. Her dash attack still very solid move that can kill you as well, and it's a little safer than it was in Smash 4 in this game. And Din's Fire now doesn't put her in free fall, so she can use it to help her recover. Not to mention she can also, and she can recover with Phantom too. That's another thing you can do with Phantom. She can also catch you off stage where it's risky to air dodge, and her Din's Fire can kill you off stage or gimp you if she hits the weak hit and you have you used your jump already. It can just gimp you, or like if you're in the process of using your jump. So yeah, guys, that's gonna round it up for the high tier. Sorry, this is a long video. I do have a lot of characters in the high tier. Stay tuned if you want to see the rest of the tier list videos. And also, I'm gonna have a really cool new video, part of a new series coming out this week. So please subscribe if you want to check that out. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.